So originally this video was going to come out the first day of the official launch of Lost Ark. It was supposed to be my first impressions and my experience of the head start of Lost Ark on EU, while also simultaneously having a character at level 50, because the way that I planned everything out, it was going to work that way. However, due to queues and all kinds of interesting things like that, which we'll be discussing in this video, I am extremely frustrated with the current state of connectivity to the game. And I want to explain some of the things which I'm worried about when it comes to this game. But I think we're getting ahead of ourselves. So I'm going to go get a beverage, you get a beverage, and then we'll jump right in. So two things I want to clear off right off the bat so we don't start on the wrong foot. Firstly, do I think Lost Ark is a bad game and that you shouldn't play it? No, not at all. I think Lost Ark is an amazing third-person isometric, whatever you want to call it, MMORPG with fantastic animation, amazing graphics, great systems built into it, really cool classes, and just overall a really fun leveling experience as well as in-game activities. Secondly, since we're going to be talking about accountability, I think it's important that I also take some accountability on my part. So I'm going to preface this whole discussion with that part. So, did anybody force me to spend any money on any founders packs to be able to get this 3-day headshot? No, I chose to do that. Then when I got onto the game itself, and on the first night when I was trying to stream the game, realizing that the server that I had picked actually ended up being far more populated than I originally thought it was going to be, and that at that point I didn't abandon going onto that server, but rather picked one of the low pop servers, even though they weren't featuring the local language or the majority of the local language support that I was looking for, which was indicated by the game's Discord. Yes, that's my fault. I still chose to create my character, my very first character on Xenavale, and that's where I am right now, and that's where I have the highest level character right now. And that's also coincidentally, if I'm not mistaken, the server with the highest queue times in EU right now. But those were all my choices. I decided to stick with that server, even after the warning signs were there on the first night. The next thing is, should I have waited until I deployed my founders pack so that I got all my benefits dumped onto that account, like titles and like materials and like silver and like all of that? Yeah, I definitely could have done that. And karma heads could have probably prevailed there and thought, you know what, a lot of this stuff I actually don't need on the way to 50. Yeah, it's cool having the mount because the mount's like faster and it has a double jump and blah, blah, blah. But at the end, a horse does that job just as well. Yes, I could have waited before I did any of those things. I could have kept my founders packs just right there and waited for this whole situation to shake out and see exactly which servers are, basically the worst ones to be on right now, which are just plagued by terrible queues, and then moved over there, told everybody else in my guild to do the same thing, and then essentially made ourselves a new home in a low pop server. Yes, all of those things are on me. I could have done better there. I could have waited. I could have done more research, all of those. And I take full ownership of that. I take the accountability. But then when we get to the next part of the conversation, and that is the accountability that comes on the developers of this game and whoever is supporting the infrastructure of the game. And there's some accountability that needs to be taken there as well. Now, I realize that the title of this video is my first impressions and my time spent with the head start. But the reason why this is taking such a center stage, why this almost like an extremely negative conversation is basically how I choose to start this, is because the connectivity in the game has severely impacted my enjoyment of this experience. And part of it, as I've said, is my fault, but part of it is also on the developers and on everyone who is supporting the network infrastructure of this game's fault, because still now, as an example, on Xenavale, you are still able to actually create accounts on this server once you get in. Those have not been closed. So the issue that is experienced on high pop servers, and I can't speak for any of the other regions, I only play on EU, and I've tried some of the other high pop servers, and I've also tried some of the low pop, just trying to get like an idea of how everything comes apart. But the point is that this is not being looked at from, at least in my experience, from what I'm seeing, nothing is being done to curb more people creating their accounts on these already very populated servers, and while we're still in the head start window. Basically, in less than 16 hours from now, the game goes full free-to-play launch, the official launch of it. And at that point, you will have a whole bunch of new I almost said friendly players. I hope they're friendly. New free players coming into the game and basically creating their accounts and then being hit by these monstrous queues at different times of the day. Now, at this point in time, let's quickly take a step back and let me explain to you what I mean by that the majority of my time has been spoiled by this. So I'm located in the EU, more specifically Denmark, and Zinnervale is the server that I chose to play on. In the mornings, when you try to get onto Zinnervale, you have no issue whatsoever. And the game's UI also indicates to you that connection to the server is good, population amounts is good. But one very important thing to bear in mind, which I didn't realize until later, is that that indication that it shows there is only the server's current state. It is not indicative of the overall population of the server. So if you as a free player come on Saturday morning and you look at Zinnervale, you'll look at it and think, oh, you know what? I'm going to create my account on this because it says good. There's no high volume there or anything like that. And I know a bunch of my buddies who were on Head Start on that. I'm the kind of guy that doesn't read Twitter. I don't go to the game's Reddit, anything like that. So I'm not aware at all of any kind of issues that I might have. I'll log in. I'll start playing. I'll put 3 to 4, maybe 5, 6 hours into the game. I'll go for fucking lunch. I'll come back and I'll try to log in and be met with a queue of 22,000 people. Midday. From 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in a weekday, that is the queue volume for that server. That also automatically means that if you are not a person who goes to school or is working from home or does not have a job or is a full-time streamer or anybody that is basically, able to log into this game at such an early time, if you're a 9-to-5er and you go to an office and you go work and you come in at 5, you get your beer, you get your fucking boys, you're good to go, and boom, 22k fucking queue. It takes you about an hour to get through 2,500 to 3,000 of that queue, so you're looking at a fat maybe 3, 4, 5, upwards of 6 hours of queue time to get into the server. That's if you don't get kicked halfway through in the queue and then basically get reset right to the back, which has also happened to some of the people that I've had a conversation about this before I recorded this video. Now, I'm trying not to get too, and this is the part of the video where I want to say, and that's why I started it by saying that I don't think it's a bad game. That's not what we're talking about. The time that I actually got to play the game and that I wasn't sitting in a queue was fucking phenomenal, and it's great. And if anything, that's the reason why I'm making a video like this, and that is the reason why I'm this frustrated. Because when I get to play the game, it's fucking amazing. The only issue is I'm not getting to play the game. And yes, I know I'm fucking moaning. I understand. But as a content creator and as someone that wants to support this game and as someone who has to have an opinion, if people within my audience or people on my Discord come to me and say, hey, I'm thinking of taking the plunge. I'm thinking of trying to get into Lost Ark. You think it's a good idea? What should I do? This would be my answer to them. When you get to play the game, it's fantastic. Be very fucking smart about where you create your account and where you start putting hours in, because it is going to be difficult for you to walk away from a character to a low pop server that you've spent 20, maybe 25 hours on. You're almost, at a really happy point with the character. You've started doing chaos dungeons, everything like that. Maybe you took the real long way around and at 20, 25 hours, you're still not even level 50 yet. That's entirely possible. It is going to be very difficult for you to sacrifice that time and move away. At this point in time, looking at Twitter, looking at Reddit, and looking everywhere for information, it is not clear what Smilegate or whomever is in charge of this is going to do about this this situation. So whether it's Amazon, whether it's, Smilegate, whomever, it's not clear. At the moment in time, it just looks like they're just spinning up more servers. But that's fine. That's dealing with new people that are coming in. But they're not doing anything with these servers that have these extremely high populations on and that are still allowing people to create accounts on them. And I, at the very least, will be very interested to see how this situation develops tomorrow when it goes full free to play. So I apologize. This video was going to be a lot more positive and was going to be filled with glowing praise for the game. And I can promise you that video is still coming to this channel. But what this is this is a frustrated person that desperately wants to play this game and that paid hard-earned fucking money to get into a head start program or whatever you want to call it, but 3 days head start, and has now come to the realization that just as much time as he's spent playing the game in that head start, he's also spent in a queue for the game. And that is because I can think of several other fucking verbs to describe it. I'm just going to settle on frustrating. So that would be my only PSA from this video, and probably the main reason why I wrote this. If you are a free-to-play player that is looking to get into this game tomorrow, that did not spend any money on the Founders Packs, be aware of which servers you create your characters on. I understand that you want to play with your buddies, but overall you might just want to review the entire thing. Populations on the servers are a real problem right now, and servers like Zinnervale and Caden have massive queues, and these queues start at 2 in the afternoon on a weekday. So if you think that you're gonna get in at night for a quick 1, 2, 3 hours with the boys, at the very least right now, that doesn't look like it's the case. Go ahead and comment down below on your own findings during this time. Maybe you're having a much more pleasurable time, and I actually welcome that. I'm fully for that. I'm a huge fan of this game, and I want this game to be a massive success. But I see problems, especially over this weekend. I think we might be in for a shit show. But as always, I like to be proven wrong. As always, I like things to not fucking turn out terrible, but rather turn out good. And so I'll be sitting here trying to get into the game, and I'll be sure to tell you my experiences. Subscribe to the channel if you want more like this, although this is a different kind of piece of content as to what I usually make, so it would be strange for me if this is what makes you stick around. But either which way, thank you so much for watching, especially if you made it this far. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you around. Fucking cheers.